Welcome to your Aligned as Fuck Life podcast, hosted by your girl, Shalvika. I am a life transformation coach, a wife, a cat mom, pure generator, Enneagram 3, Pisces sign, and helping you build an aligned as fuck life is my jam. Out in this world, we believe that there are no set rules for building a life, career, and business. That we are all unique and we should be able to embrace our uniqueness in everything we do while shedding all the rules or bullshit rules one at a time. We will talk all things mindset, manifestation, healing, energetics, rituals, success, and so much more. I believe that I can have it all and you can too. Ready for an episode that will take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life? Let's get started. Hello, how are you guys doing? And welcome to episode 5 of Your Aligned as Fuck Life with Shalvika. Toxic habits to give up today to become your best self, part number 2. Now, if you guys missed part number 1, go back to episode number 3, which was like a few episodes ago, 2 episodes ago, and listen to the part 1 before you dive into this particular episode. I will also link that episode in the show notes so that you can, easily jump onto that. Did I say episode too many times? Anyway, I just love talking about toxic habits because honestly, we love self-sabotage. We have so much fear, we have so many inhibitions, we have so much conditioning around owning our fucking power that we get into these rituals and habits and routines that are so bloody toxic and self-sabotaging towards our own best self or towards our own best interest, right? So we are going to continue talking about some more toxic habits. I have 5 listed here in my notes. You know your girl loves having her notes around with her. So we are just going to dive right in. Also, by the end of this episode, I'm going to be declaring my Black Friday offer. So stay tuned for an exclusive, amazing offer that you can work with me for like a super low ticket and god-smacking amazing fucking value. All right, let me just dive directly into the toxic habits. So habit number 6. So we talked about 5 habits in episode 3. So I'm gonna resume that list. So habit number 6 is ignoring your own self-care. If you're someone who's been following me on Instagram for a while, you know your girl is a big proponent of self-care. In fact, every Monday, I actually drop bombs around self-care. So if you want to know more about it, find me and follow me on Instagram. You can find my handle in the show notes. But why is self-care important, you ask? So when we are busy, stressed, swamped with too many things to do, the first thing that takes a backseat usually is our own self and our own self-care. In fact, many of us don't even give ourselves the time we deserve to unwind, to refresh, to rejuvenate, right? Self-care is extremely important because unless you are at your best, you will not be able to give your best to the people around you, to your job or your business or your family or your loved ones, your friends, or anything else that matters to you. I'm sure you have heard about this like a million times, but you cannot, and let me stress, you cannot pour out from an empty cup. Right? So self-care is so bloody important. And in this environment of capitalism, in this environment of productivity and efficiency and earnings and profit margins and billable hours, we have somewhere lost the essence of who we are and what we truly need. And one of the most important ways to bring that into your life is through self-care. And self-care can honestly be in so many different formats, right? Self-care can mean going to a spa and getting a massage. Self-care could also mean curling with your favorite book in your blanket next to your cat or your dog. I'm going to say a cat because I have 2 cats. But your pet, your loved one, anyone, and just reading through the night. Self-care for you can mean taking a nap every single day. It can also mean going on solo walks without anyone, or a hike. There are so many different ways in which you can take care of yourself, and honestly it's unique to each and every one of us, right? But if I were to give you like a quick guide, like one of my not latest, but in the past year or something that I have discovered is that I love walking as a part of my self-care. Not jogging, not power walking, not doing any of those things for working out. And I'm using air quotes when I say working out, but just walking for the sake of walking. And honestly, you have so many clues around what self-care works best for you or would work best for you in your previous generations, right? Like our previous generations knew what they were about. Like my grandfather, right till he was 91 years old, he would walk every single day, right? And we have just lost that connection. And in order to regain that connection, it is so bloody important to take care of ourselves. Self-care is the only way that you can actually, in the long term, change the amount of anxiety attacks you get, change the amount of burnouts you have, change the, actually influence various disorders like hypertension, cholesterol, all of those things. If you would just take 5 minutes and meditate, or 5 minutes and go for a walk, or just dance your heart out, it would change your life. Trust me. All right. So now that we have talked so much about self-care, the next toxic habit that I want to touch upon is stressing about things that are out of our control. Now, there are things that you can influence, and there are things that you just can't, right? I mean, think about it. Is the weather shit today? Well, tough luck. There is literally nothing that you can do about it, right? Or say your boss is in a terrible mood, or someone you work with is in a terrible mood and just maybe yelled at you, or is being passive aggressive with you. Well, there's really nothing fucking that you can do about it either, right? If the market is down, if there is a recession happening in the world, or as it happened in 2020, if there's a global fucking pandemic, you can't do shit about it. The only thing that you can control is your thoughts, how you react to things, what you do every single day in your life, how you behave, how you take ownership for your own emotions, how you process your feelings. These are the things that you actually have control over. The only thing that you can control is you and everything that's inside of you. Nothing outside of that is in your control. You cannot control other people's emotions. You cannot control circumstances. You can just control and influence how you react to them or how you handle them. Again, I'm using air quotes when I say handle, right? So the next time you are stressed about something, really ask yourself super honestly if there is anything that you can do to influence or change the situation. If not, take a deep breath and let it go and ask yourself, what is it that I can do about it? How can I look at this situation in order to make me not feel so frustrated, pissed, irritated, whatever it is that you're feeling, right? And remember, you stressing about it is just going to make things worse. It's not going to change the situation. It's not going to change the circumstances. It's just going to make you feel miserable. Okay, so that is toxic habit number 7. Toxic habit number 8. And this is something that I love talking about. I love working with all my clients on this. It is the pursuit of perfection. We live in a world where perfection has become an inseparable part of our lives, right? And honestly, this toxic habit, is fueled by this whole world that we live in of social media. And I know I am constantly on social media, I'm constantly on Instagram. But there are so many things that I am also trying to move away from, because in this world of perfect edited Instagram posts, perfect bodies, perfect scores, perfect spouses, you know, it's difficult, right? It gets overwhelming. It gets a little depressing to think that everyone else has everything perfect but you don't. One thing that I want to add here is that, guys, social media is just a fucking highlight reel. People don't tell you about the million times that they cry to sleep. They don't tell you about the fights they have with their spouses. They don't tell you about how miserable they are because they took that fucking house loan. They don't tell you about they tell you about having bought a Mercedes, but they don't tell you about how difficult it is for them to pay for their maintenance. I actually know someone who bought a Mercedes, and the first month was so shocked at the amount of money that they had to pay to get the car serviced. So yeah, I mean, it's a highlight reel, and perfection is elusive. Perfection does not exist. Like, look around you in nature. Look, everything in this world that came from nature, that came as it was supposed to be. Nothing is perfect, right? I mean, even I remember growing up, my grandparents had a few. They had a lot of fruit trees in their backyard, but they had a few guava trees in their backyard. And my grandmom always used to say that actually the guavas that have been eaten, or that have beak marks on it, are actually the tastiest, because the parrots, the birds, everyone actually gets attracted to the most sweetest. Okay, yeah, I used most sweetest, but anyway, the sweetest fruit on the tree is where the parrots are actually going to go and get attracted to. So if you actually pick out the most imperfect guava, it's bound to taste the yummiest, right? Imperfection is a part of nature, and honestly, the pursuit of perfection is a conditioned response. It's a response to how you were raised. It's a response to how you felt valued. It's a response to how, when you were a child, you were probably mocked, or you were probably shouted at for not having a great handwriting. Like, my husband tells me that, like, he was, I don't know, 6-7 years old when the teacher actually called in his mom, like my mother-in-law, and told her that your son has crappy handwriting. What that actually tells you is that something like your handwriting is way more important than the content of what the kid is writing, right? And that's what triggers this sense of pursuit of perfection. So the next time you find yourself thinking that I will do this thing only and only when this one other thing is perfect, pause and ask yourself, is that really going to happen? Or is this just an excuse for me to hide behind this, to not take radical responsibility for my actions, to actually not fuel the fuel the fear of, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I do this and then I cannot replicate it, right? Like, there's so many questions about it, and there's so many examples that are coming to my mind, but I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole. I'll definitely do an episode talking about each of these toxic habits in detail, because there is really, guys, like, literally, there is so much fucking things that I want to share with you. But remember to pause and ask yourself how I can make some progress instead of just waiting for the thing to be perfect. Toxic habit number 5: unhealthy routines. Spending hours in social media, binge watching Netflix, eating takeout every day, ignoring your workouts, your health. We all know this. We all have been there. We all have done that. Especially if you are someone who lived away from home for college. I'm sure you can come up with 10 more unhealthy routines and habits that you ended up instilling in those days, right? But the thing is, you're not in college anymore. You grew out of it. You got a job. You're getting your shit together. Why are you still clinging on to those unhealthy routines, right? So now, when I say that, let me also add kind of a disclaimer that when I say that, I don't mean don't be on social media. I am on social media. I spend an hour, 2 hours every day on Instagram, right? Because that's where my business is. That's where a lot of my leads and my clients and everything is at. But I'm saying that don't sit and scroll your Instagram mindlessly for hours. I'm not saying don't watch Netflix. I love watching movies. I love watching TV shows, right? But don't sit and spend 8 hours binge watching a series one after the other. And again, you can do that once in a while. I did that when Money Heist released. I I fucking love Money Heist. I have such a huge crush on Alvaro Morte, who plays the professor in Money Heist, but I'm digressing. So it's fine to do it once in a while, right? But don't make it a habit. We are talking about toxic habits. So don't let it be a habit. Don't let it be the thing that your body goes to very reactively. Then it's a habit, right? And why we do this is because what we don't realize is most of these unhealthy routines actually offer instant gratification. They offer this hit of dopamine that we are craving, and but they don't really contribute towards our long-term happiness, or they don't contribute towards the future vision that we want to go to, right? And trust me guys, instant gratification is overrated. I mean, it's good when you're like 18 years old, 19 years old, and you want that hit of dopamine. But instead of going after instant gratification, why can't we try and create routines and rituals around our long-term vision, right? Keep space for the things that you like. Keep space for watching the shows that you love or scrolling through social media. But don't let it come in the way of building the life of your vision. So the next time you are tempted to spend your time on any of these unhealthy routines, ask yourself if there is something better that you can do with your time that would make you a better person. And yeah, like I said, the problem's not in the act of watching a movie or checking on your social media. The problem is when these actions are performed mindlessly for hours on end. That is when this is a toxic habit, and we need to get rid of it. I actually forgot the word rid, so yeah. Anyway, moving on. Toxic habit number 10. Not being your true, authentic self. Y'all know that this podcast is about that. It's about finding your true, authentic voice. It's about building your aligned as fuck life. It's about being who you are at your innermost core, right? And not being our true self is something that most of us are guilty of. Nicole Lapera calls this the habit self, right? It's a conditioned response. We are conditioned since our childhood in such a way that we learn to behave according to our conditioning and not really according to who we truly are as an individual. This happens because honestly, as humans, we are influenced. So we're bound to be influenced by our families, our colleagues, our peers, our lovers, our spouses, everyone who's around us is bound to influence us. And in that influence, we end up losing our sense of self. And being authentic or finding your most authentic self-expression is really important, because when you are your true self, it is so easy to love, connect with, and nurture all of the people around you. Because if you are not your truest expression of yourself, you don't love yourself. Because you are not you. You are pretending to be someone that you are supposed to be. And when you cannot love yourself, you cannot love anyone else. Any kind of love starts from a deep sense of self-love. And that's why it is so important to find out your truest voice. When you are being untrue to your nature, it shows. It shows in the way you deal with people, how you tackle your work, how you love yourself, what kind of activities or habits you have, what kind of things that you spend your time on. All of that is affected by your sense of self and your sense of loving yourself, right? So make an effort to get to know yourself first. Familiarize yourself with your own authentic, unique self and watch how the world changes. And of course, if you need any help in that, you know that I'm your girl. I'm someone who loves helping women find their most authentic self and build a life that is aligned as fuck with who they are and not really in accordance with the roles that they're supposed to be playing, right? So find my Instagram and get in touch with me. I would love to have a conversation with you. So these are some of the toxic habits that I have seen people have in their lives. I have had these in my life. It's not like I am rid of all of these, right? We're all work in progress. But I think awareness is such an important part of the healing process. Unless you're aware that this is something that I am doing, it is so difficult to change that behavior, right? And honestly, breaking out of these habits is not going to be as easy as it sounds. But breaking out of them little by little is something that's definitely going to change your life and take you one step closer to your aligned as fuck life. So here's my Black Friday offer. I am going to be hosting a workshop called Own Your Life. And this workshop is for anyone who is ready to identify and work through certain limiting beliefs that are formed as a result, as a consequence of the labels that are given to us as children. We are all given labels throughout our lives. She's too organized, he's too fat, she's too clingy, she's too needy, he is too intellectual, she is too nerdy, she is too geeky. And all of these labels actually in some way contribute to us putting ourselves in a box and lead us to actually limiting the way we want to function, limiting the way we actually operate in our life. So if you are ready to identify those things, identify those labels and see how they are impacting your life today and how you can actually reframe each and every one of those labels that you want to and take ownership for your fucking life to actually live in your most authentic voice, to identify how you are self-sabotaging your own self and stopping yourself from building the life of your dreams. This workshop is for you. And this is only for $11 for Black Friday or 777 Indian rupees. What are you waiting for? This is the lowest offer that I have. This is the lowest ticket that you can work with me. And I am so excited to help you reframe your beliefs, to help you get to a place where you can own your power and actually radiate the beauty, the glory, the amazingness of your being. And as a bonus, you also get 1 month's membership in my Mindset Reset membership group for free, which is valued at $27 a month. So what are you waiting for? Find the link in my show notes and apply. I will see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming. And if you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up some extra inspiration and send me a hello on Instagram by searching @Shalvika_P. Also tagged in the show notes. I love and adore you so much, and I will talk to you super soon. In the meantime, continue building your most authentic and aligned as fuck life. Ciao!